赶紧买房子吧！
Sell your house quickly. The real estate market is only going to get worse. I know some landlords and real estate agents will criticize me for saying this, but I have to risk it and tell you the truth about the Wuhan property market. As we enter the second half of 2025, 5 undeniable truths about the real estate market can no longer be hidden. First, if you own a property, sell it now because its value will keep decreasing. If you're still hoping for the price to go up, that's not going to happen. Second, this year is the best time to sell. The market is polarizing, with high quality properties becoming more expensive, while the less desirable ones are dropping in price. Third, even government intervention can't stop the decline. The second and third tier cities will continue to see price drops. Fourth, properties in bad locations won't sell. Fifth, when buying a home, make sure it's within your budget.
什么是午夜惊魂？简直比恐怖片真的还要恐怖。
The housing market now is scarier than a horror movie. A landlord asked me to help sell their house, and I checked the transaction history. In March, the house sold for 600,000 yuan, but just 4 months later in July, the price had dropped to 400,000 yuan. That's a 34% drop in just 4 months. The average price in April was 7,500 yuan per square meter, and by June, it dropped to 6,100 yuan, with July's price expected to plummet to 5,000 yuan per square meter. Just imagine the speed of these price drops. 1,000 yuan per square meter every month. This is the end of the housing market. Recently, the continued decline of Wuhan's housing market has drawn attention. Some properties have lost more than 60% of their value in just a few months, and even with huge price cuts, many homes still aren't selling. What's worse, it's not just the outskirts of the city feeling the pressure. Downtown areas are also being hit by the downturn. The overall atmosphere in Wuhan's real estate market is uneasy and awkward. Many people are still looking at properties, but actual deals are rare. A local blogger who buys homes with cash visited several districts and shared a shocking scene. She said,
全国的数据出来了，武汉
National data shows that Wuhan's second-hand homes have dropped the most in the country, down by 52%. It's a massive price cut, yet there are still experts out there saying that everything will get better. I've personally seen the harsh reality. Yesterday, I passed several neighborhoods and took some photos. Many buildings had their lights on, but only 30 to 40% of apartments were lit up. This means most of the apartments are empty. These unlit homes mean no one is living there. I'm not an economist, but I know a basic truth. Things become more valuable when they're scarce. And now there are empty homes everywhere. And with more supply than demand, why wouldn't prices drop? What's the job market like? Do people have money in their pockets? We all know the answer. So when people ask me about Wuhan's housing market needs, I personally think it's going to get worse. A 50% drop is just the beginning. The road to popping the bubble is still long. Some ask me why I buy houses with cash. It's because I see through this market. There are too many houses and too little money, and selling a house is becoming harder and harder. Even through real estate agents, it's a long wait. Prices keep dropping. Some owners urgently need to sell and can't wait. Watching their property value drop day by day, it's heartbreaking. Right now, nearly every homeowner in Wuhan is trying to sell. Out of every 10, 8 are selling. And don't envy those who have many properties or are buying new homes. Right now, everyone's main concern is whether their property can sell. Wuhan's housing inventory has exceeded 200,000 units and continues to increase daily. Many owners are desperate to sell, but no matter how much they lower the price, their properties still aren't selling. So if you own a property, sell it now.
现在武汉所有的房子
Wuhan has really fallen to this point. A property near a subway station is priced at only 5,000 yuan per square meter, almost the price of a house in a small town. For just 5,000 yuan per square meter, you get a fully renovated home, a parking space, and it's right by the subway. It's also a school district area and offers top medical resources. That's incredibly cheap. As the blogger said, in Wuhan's real estate market today, owners are losing money left and right, and it's becoming a common occurrence.
我武汉的房子是140万买的。
I bought my house in Wuhan for 1.4 million yuan, and now it's listed for 900,000 yuan. The agent just called me. There's a buyer offering 700,000 yuan. Should I sell? If I sell, I'll lose a lot. If I don't sell, it's going to keep dropping.
Another homeowner lamented how they had been reluctant to sell their property in Wuhan when the prices dropped. They didn't sell when it was priced at 1.03 million yuan, nor at 950,000 yuan. And even when it dropped to 850,000 yuan, they still held on to it. Now when they try to sell, they can only get 420,000 yuan. A homeowner in Chaokou district within Wuhan's Third Ring Road shared their experience. Normally, properties here could sell for around 20,000 yuan per square meter due to its central location and convenient transportation, so the prices were already high. However, today, their 70 square meter property can only be sold for around 300,000 yuan, a staggering 85% drop. A Wuhan netizen expressed her frustration in a video. Our properties can't sell anymore.
去年有人出价106万。
Last year, someone offered 1.06 million yuan for our property, but we insisted on 1.1 million. We couldn't agree on that small difference, and now my property is down to 800,000 yuan. We bought it in 2017 for 1 million yuan. Spent 200,000 yuan on renovations, and paid off 6 years of mortgage interest amounting to 240,000. My family has saved 1.44 million yuan over 2 generations, and now we've lost 640,000 yuan because of falling property prices. My husband wants to sell this place for 800,000 yuan, add 100 million yuan, and buy another place in the city for 1.8 million yuan, then spend 200,000 yuan on renovations. I stopped him. Just because we can make the money now doesn't mean it'll always be this way. We have no savings, and that's more unsettling than anything. The real security for adults doesn't come from owning expensive property. It comes from the balance in your bank account. This house has taught us a harsh lesson. Chasing the bigger houses and cars for the sake of face is far less important than having money in hand. Maintaining stability right now is far more important. Another netizen shared their story.
5年前花178万。
5 years ago, my husband and I spent 1.78 million yuan on a 65th floor apartment in Wuhan. It had 127 square meters. We paid a 580,000 yuan down payment and took out a loan of 1.2 million yuan, with a monthly mortgage payment of 6,500 yuan. The developer promised that the subway, new hospital branch, and key school would raise property values, so we chose this 14,000 yuan per square meter apartment over the 30,000 yuan per square meter properties in Optics Valley. But instead of rising, prices dropped. Our family faced some hardships. My mom's health declined, and my husband, at 35, lost his job. I had to work and support 2 children, with my entire income going to the mortgage. We tried side jobs like street vending, food delivery, and part-time work, but it was tough and didn't bring in much. Feeling the pressure, we decided to sell. The top floor was hard to sell. The agent showed it to one buyer after another, but they all wanted to bargain aggressively. Eventually, we sold it for 930,000 yuan, taking a loss of 580,000 yuan on the principal alone, plus 5.5 years of interest, bringing the total loss to about 1.1 million yuan. Similarly, another netizen, Miss Lin, who has lived in Hangzhou for 7 years, shared her tragic experience with the dropping housing prices. She and her husband initially thought they would settle down in Wuhan, but they bought at the peak of the market, and now their property has lost most of its value. Miss Lin said, "We bought a house in Wuhan's Baishaozhou area 3 years ago when prices were at their highest point. We spent 1.75 million yuan on a 95 square meter 3-bedroom apartment, which worked out to about 18,500 yuan per square meter, including 22 square meters of shared space. We took out a full commercial loan, and the interest rate was 5.73 at the time, later dropping to 3.2%. My husband and I don't have any public housing funds, so it was all a commercial loan. We only moved in last September, and now, just under a year later, I saw that a similar unit in our complex is listed for only 1.34 million yuan. At that moment, my heart sank." Ms. Lin continued, "Over the years, we've paid heavy interest on our mortgage. That 500,000 yuan down payment is almost completely lost. It really matches what a netizen said. Anyone with a little ambition over the past few years is now buried in debt. My husband and I are living proof of that." Ms. Lin reflected that her experience is almost a reflection of many ordinary family struggles. The couple originally came from a remote mountain village in Xinyang, Henan. After getting married and having a child in 2016, they worked in Hangzhou for 7 years. However, Hangzhou's education policies for children of non-local residents were not friendly, and the housing prices were ridiculously high, making it unaffordable for ordinary people. After weighing their options, they decided to move to Wuhan, a new first-tier city closer to their hometown, where they made their most important down payment in life. She said, "Looking back at our years in Hangzhou, we really went through a lot. My husband worked in architectural design and was often busy until 1 or 2 a.m. I took care of the child during the day and helped him with his work at night. We kept pushing through, and in the eyes of our family, we were considered the most successful couple. Relatives often praised us, saying we were able to buy a house in the big city with our own efforts, and that we were ambitious. But now, looking back, it seems like all we've achieved is more debt, with nothing much to show off." In the first 3 years they've been in Wuhan, Ms. Lin's family hardly ever went out for leisure. Firstly, because holidays were overcrowded, and more importantly, they couldn't afford to spend money. Their child kept asking to go to the ocean park, but the prices were too high, and the couple had to keep resisting. Through meticulous budgeting and frugality, they barely made it through their toughest 3 years after buying the house. But seeing their hard-earned down payment from 7 years of marriage evaporate in an instant, how could they not feel devastated? Miss Lin helplessly said, "In the past few years, when it was hardest to hold on, we even considered selling the house. But after calculating everything, we realized that if we sold it, not only would we lose the house, but there wouldn't be much left, and buying another house would be almost impossible." My husband then said, "If we sell, we'll be like the children of rural families again. If we don't sell, at least we have a place in Wuhan, and our child will still be the only child in the family who lives in a city." Only those who come from rural areas can truly understand this kind of difference. So we kept going, both working 4 jobs a day, hoping one day we'd pay off our mortgage. This is the real experience of working people buying a house. The down payment is never enough, and behind it is endless pressure. I want to remind those with housing needs to be careful when buying a house. If you're not in a hurry, you should wait a little longer and observe, because for ordinary people, a historic speck of dust becomes a heavy mountain. In the comments below the video, some netizens mentioned that this situation isn't unique to Wuhan. While the listing prices on the market seem stable, the actual transaction prices have already dropped significantly. In some areas, housing prices have fallen to levels that people can't even believe. A Beijing financial blogger recently visited the Rhine Valley community by the Yongding River, where housing prices have plummeted. He stated that the location is good, but the rent is surprisingly low, less than 1,000 yuan per month, so he plans to rent there short-term to observe. During his visit, he filmed and recorded everything he saw and heard. He said, despite the good location of the Rhine Valley, property prices have dropped to a point where even the seller's own mothers wouldn't recognize the value. One owner originally bought a property for over 1.8 million yuan, but the price has already dropped by 1 million yuan, and now it's only worth 700 to 800,000 yuan, a 70% drop. This has led to massive losses for many owners. The blogger also mentioned that most of the properties in the community are used for rental purposes, with the primary tenants being office workers from Daxing, Beijing, including some local Beijing residents. He emphasized that property prices in this area have generally experienced similar declines. Data from real estate platforms support this trend. According to Fang.com, the current average price of second-hand properties in Yongding River, Peacock City, Rhine Valley is only about 8,000 yuan per square meter, and the prices continue to fall. In comparison, the second-hand property price in Cambridge district of the same series was about 6,500 yuan per square meter in July. At their peak, properties along the Yongding River once soared to 15 or even 20,000 yuan per square meter. Now they've generally dropped to just a few thousand yuan per square meter, with total prices shrinking by hundreds of thousands of yuan. Another widely discussed case occurred at the Country Garden in Zhengcheng, Guangzhou. The Country Garden Yunding project, once priced at 42,000 yuan per square meter, has now dropped dramatically to 11,000 yuan, marking a steep 73% price cut. Meanwhile, in Zhengdong New District, Zhengzhou, property prices have experienced a cliff-like drop, plummeting by about 41%. Many netizens lament that the national real estate market seems to be undergoing an epic collapse. Not only are prices for ordinary residential properties continuously falling, but even high-end ones, once considered value hotspots, have not been spared. For example, the Wanliu Academy, located in Beijing's northwest 4th Ring Road, is a high-end community in Haidian near the Summer Palace. It has several prestigious schools and was once regarded the luxury school district property. In 2019, parking spaces here were reported to be priced as high as 2 million yuan. In 2022, during a court auction, some units were sold for as high as 365,000 yuan per square meter. However, by June 2025, the transaction price for the same units had dropped to only 200,000 yuan per square meter, with some listings even going as low as 140,000 yuan per square meter. But they remained unsold for 6 months, representing nearly a 50% price drop. Similarly, the luxury housing market in Shanghai is also struggling. The prices of properties in Gubei No. 1 fell to 210,000 yuan per square meter in June 2025. Nomura Securities analysts believe that China's economy may undergo a significant turning point in mid-2025, with weakening exports, sluggish consumption, and underperformance in mid to high-end consumer goods and dining sectors. Additionally, increased pressure from housing loans may lead to a noticeable decline in overall demand, further exacerbating the crisis in the real estate sector. While some experts in Beijing continue to stubbornly claim that the decline in second-hand housing prices is narrowing, the actual data contradicts this view. From April to June 2025, the decline in Beijing's second-hand housing market expanded for 3 consecutive months, ending the previous trend of price stabilization. In fact, since March 2023, the second-hand housing market in Beijing has been declining for 19 months straight. Despite a brief recovery in 2024, due to the government's 924 policy, the market quickly turned downward again. In June, the average listing price for second-hand homes in Beijing dropped to 42,900 yuan per square meter, a year-on-year decrease of about 12.9%. Only 2 out of the city's 16 districts saw price increases, while the rest all experienced declines. This downturn is not unique to Beijing. The second-hand residential market in first-tier cities dropped by 0.7% month-on-month, while second- and third-tier cities saw a 0.6% drop, a 0.1 percentage point increase from last month. The average price of second-hand homes in 100 cities fell by about 0.8% month-on-month and 7.3% year-on-year. Among 70 large and medium-sized cities, only Xining saw a slight increase of 0.1%, while the rest all saw declines. Transaction volumes are also sluggish. In Shanghai, for example, the latest week saw only 4,104 transactions, a 19.6% decrease from the previous week, and a 23.7% drop from the peak 6 weeks ago. By July, the market had cooled dramatically. The second-hand home transaction volume in Beijing dropped sharply to 2,173 units in the second week of July, a 55.5% decrease from the previous week, far below the 4-week average of 3,542 units per week. As the real estate market continues to collapse, its domino effect is rapidly impacting upstream and downstream industries, triggering a series of tragedies. Recently, several executives closely associated with the real estate and related industries have died under abnormal circumstances, drawing widespread attention. These executives include Zheng Yuzhou, known as the godfather of Guangzhou's home industry, Wang Lingpeng, chairman of the home retail giant Zhuran Home, Shen Kangming, a director at Zhejiang Construction Investment Group, and Liu Wenchao, chairman of Shizi Elevator Group. These business giants, once influential in their fields, all passed away in a short period of time under shocking circumstances. These events have not only shaken the business world, but also led the public to make various connections regarding the pressures and challenges currently facing the real estate industry. In recent years, the real estate market has been affected by policy adjustments, tightening cash flows, and market demand fluctuations, with many companies facing unprecedented operational difficulties. The deaths of these executives have undoubtedly added a dark layer to the already gloomy market atmosphere. A finance blogger named Tom pointed out that these executives were all in industries closely related to real estate. Elevators are needed for building projects, city investment companies and property developers are nearly tied together, and home decoration and furniture are downstream of real estate. The once influential giants, now struggling due to the collapse of the real estate market, are facing immense difficulties. Tom warned that while 2021 marks the beginning of the real estate crisis, the full scale of the crisis in industries related to real estate is only beginning to surface. Going forward, industries such as lighting, appliances, glass, and wood may also struggle to survive. At the same time, an online speech by economist Xiang Shengzhuo has been widely circulated. Xiang recalled that back in 2011 and 2012, when he served as the chief economist for the Agricultural Bank of China, he repeatedly warned that real estate cannot be managed this way. At that time, banks were lending excessively to real estate, and he participated in a meeting with more than 30 bank chairmen. During the meeting, the deputy governor of the central bank directly warned, "What you're doing now seems reasonable, but you will regret it in the future." He also revealed that at one point, real estate accounted for 42% of China's total social financing, nearly overdrawing the entire financial system. He admitted that real estate has now become the biggest drag on China's economy, leading to skyrocketing local government debt, heavy mortgage burdens for households, and increasing non-performing loans in banks. He predicted that it would take at least 3 to 5 years for the real estate market to truly stop falling and stabilize. China's real estate was once worth 400 to 500 trillion yuan, it could now lose half its value. Xiang bluntly stated, "In the past, we were unwilling to admit our mistakes, but today we have no choice but to pay the price." All of this means that the deeper impacts of China's real estate crisis may have only just begun.